Tonight, it's an evening of questions and answers. Swami Brahmananda collected the questions, and I'll do my level best to answer. So we are going to start. Om.
Om Swamiji. What is the nature of bondage and what should we do to confront it?
Bondage is, according to the teaching of Vedanta, an illusion. We say bondage is an illusion and freedom is also an illusion. In reality, we are the immortal, eternal Atman, or self. In reality, at this very moment, we are free. But there is an illusion that is cast upon our mind, which gives us the impression that we are limited, bound, suffering, ignorant, weak beings. So this is a false bondage. It's like an illusion. So it's like an illusion which was cast by a magician. The name of this magician is Maya, the cosmic illusion of the Lord. Due to this illusion, our true nature is veiled and a false reality is projected, which gives us the impression that we are limited and we are bound and we are mortal and so many things which according to the yogic teachings are false. The purpose of the method of yoga is to remove this illusion which is universal, to remove it from the mind of the individual. Each individual learns how to do it. And once this illusion is removed from the mind, we realize our true nature, which is total freedom, unbound knowledge, infinite consciousness, immortality, unbound joy, unbound love, unbound goodness, unbound unity, infinite power. We don't gain these things, we just realize them, that in our true nature we are eternally free. So to remove the false idea of bondage, which is created by the cosmic illusion that resides within our own minds, this is what we call moksha, to attain freedom, to remove the illusion of the bondage. To also remove the illusion of freedom, because we were never bound. And therefore, the idea of freedom that needs to be gained is also a false idea. We are eternally free beings. We just need to realize it, that's all. In Vedanta, there is this analogy of a lady that had a necklace on her neck, but she forgot that the necklace is on her neck, so she was looking for the necklace everywhere until she realized that the necklace is simply on her neck. So we are searching for the self everywhere, not realizing that the self is who we are. It's like the necklace. We are searching for freedom, not realizing that we are eternally free. We are searching for joy, not realizing that we are joy. So we are in a long habit of being under the spell of illusion. Therefore, in the beginning, it's even difficult to believe in these things. But many people have the intuition that there is some truth in it. And then through the practices of yoga, the cloud of illusion is removed and we realize our true nature, the self. And we are free. So Can you repeat the question? The question was about bondage.
Om Swamiji, what is the nature of bondage and what should we do to confront it?
That's why I just explained.
Yes. Yeah. Om Swamiji, how can we learn how to handle karmic relationships so that we stop perpetuating the suffering that comes with it and be free and happy?
This sounds very complicated, but karmic relation. Karma means action. All the actions that we are doing will have results, and we are going to experience these results in the future. And we experience the results of our actions life after life. Our physical body is a result of our past actions, our environment, our family, our health and sickness, our social condition, whether we are rich or poor, it's all the result of our own actions. Whether we experience peace or war, it's all the result of our own action. Whether we have good relationships with others or not, it's all the results of our own actions in the past. So the law of karma is quite simple. Everything that we do is creating seeds which are sown in our own subconscious mind. And these seeds are sprouting, and we are going to experience their fruits in the future in the form of life periods. We are born and we live and we die, and that life is the result of our past actions with everything that it contains, including the relationships. And the relationships are very interesting because the law of karma has a purpose. Its purpose is that gradually we learn, we educate ourselves, we learn from our mistake. We learn lessons which are called karmic lessons, life lessons. And once we learn the lessons, we can move on. So karma, it's a universal law to which we are educated spiritually. And life after life, we are learning many, many lessons. And gradually, we reach perfection in so many qualities. For example, we may need to learn how to love. This cannot be learned in one lifetime. It takes many lifetimes, and the way we learn it is through our relationships with other people, with creatures, until we learn and we master this, that we love our fellow beings as much as we love ourselves. And there are so many other things that we need to learn. And the way we learn it is to our relationships with our fellow beings. Sometimes we have to go to many lifetimes just to develop one quality. It takes many, many, many lifetimes until we reach perfection. So it's an educational divine system which helps us to evolve and to learn by learning from the results of our own actions, of our own thoughts, of our own words. We understand also we are gaining the privilege to have a direct experience of what other people are feeling and experiencing. So if I'm causing pain to another being, I'm going to experience the same pain. And when I experience the same pain again and again, I'm going to understand what that person felt, because I caused pain to that person, but I did not understand. But eventually I do understand. And so on and so on. So all the divine qualities are gradually developed. All the negative qualities are gradually eradicated. This takes many lifetimes. And slowly, 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 we reach a point where we realize what is the purpose of our life. So our teachers are our fellow beings. they teach us how to develop these qualities. They are like our mirrors. Without them, we cannot evolve. It's impossible. So, karmic relationships are extremely important in the gradual evolution of a human being or of a soul until that soul reaches perfection. So, when we come to this world, the karmic lessons are foremost. We have to go through them, and it's like role playing. In many lives, we assume many roles. In one life, we are a male. In another life, we are a female. One life, we are the mother, and we have a child. In another life, we are the child, and the other person is the mother. We play so many roles. And not only this, but we have to also go to the experience of other creatures. There are lives where and I know that Western people may have difficulty with it, but it is true. Because in one life, we have the body of a cat. In one life, we have the body of a bird. In one life, we have the body of a tree. Why? Because we need to realize that everything is alive, everything is conscious, everything feels, everything has cognition. Slowly, we realize the unity or the oneness of our life. So, because of it, we need to experience so many life forms. And all of these things are happening as a consequence, as a result of our past actions. So we are responsible for our own destiny. It's our own doing. And sometimes it's extremely unpleasant. Nevertheless, in the long run, the law of karma truly helps us to achieve our life goal. So it's a very benign law, it's a divine law, uh, and it's really a law of universal education. And so this is what I have to say about karmic relationship. Karmic relationships means that a group of people have to come together again and again and again and again until they learn certain lessons. Then they can move on. We are not always with the same people, but it happens that for many lives we may reincarnate with the same group of people until we are learning our lessons. So this is the nature of karmic relationships. Okay.
Om Swamiji. When we are confronted with desires and attachments, what can we do to transmute them?
We are born because of desires. The reason that we are born is because we have desires. We are born because those desires, once they manifest, must be fulfilled. We cannot fulfill all desires within one lifetime, but those desires exist within our subconscious mind in the form of subtle impressions, which are called vasanas. In Sanskrit, we call them vasanas. These vasanas must manifest, need to be fulfilled. So therefore we are born. Once we asked Swamiji, why we are reincarnating? He told us, because of desires. The desires are the moving forces behind reincarnation. So this is about desire. What was the other thing?
Attachment.
Attachments, desire has two forms. Attraction to the pleasant and revulsion from the painful. So we call it raga and vesha, attraction and revulsion. So attraction is a form of desire, attraction to the pleasant. Revulsion from the painful is also a form of desire. So we try to fulfill these desires. So for example, we may get attached to pleasure, to the pleasant. It's like addiction. We get addicted to objects whom we consider to be the sources of happiness. What is the problem of attachment? We make the mistake thinking that the source of happiness is an external object, and it is not. The source of happiness is the self, but the illusion is that the source of happiness is an external object. So we get attached to an external object. But what happens? External objects change. External objects disappear. External objects go away, not the attachment. So when they change, when they disappear, when they go away, we suffer because the attachment is still there. Not only this, the instruments of experience, they also change. So not only the object of attachment changes, my physical body changes, my mind changes, the organs of cognition change, and this is very painful. I'm not able to experience in the same way that I could experience once. So everything changes. So objects have the nature of disappearing and flying away, or vanishing, and they leave behind them pain and suffering due to attachment. So attachment is simply an addiction which is created by being attracted to the pleasant. We are trying to sustain the source of our pleasure, but this is impossible. First, because objects are not the sources of our pleasure. Second, because they don't last. They change and they go away. The source of happiness is within us. But pleasures that are experienced, the real cause are actions that we have done in our past lives. Good deeds that we have done in our past lives are experienced in the present as enjoyable experiences, pleasurable experiences. Even a beautiful day in Paradise Island, it is the result of something that we have done in the past. All pleasurable experiences come from deeds that we have done in the past, good deeds. Similarly, negative deeds that we have done in the past result in painful experiences. So pleasure and pain were generated by things that we have done in the past. Therefore, we can create a very happy future just by doing good deeds. But even good deeds have the same problem. When you are performing good deeds, indeed, you are going to experience pleasurable experiences. But the problem of pleasurable experiences is that they decay like the physical body. The experience itself decays because the experience is a karmic result. Karmic results decay as we experience them. So there is no way to sustain the pleasure because as we experience it, it slowly decays and disappears. Then we experience pain. The pain of the disappearance of the object of pleasure. The object disappears. Not only this, the object may be there, the pleasure disappears. The same object that today brings me pleasure, tomorrow may bring me pain. You see? The same object. Why? Because the cause is in our past. And when we experience it, it decays and it disappears. Then, due to attachment, pain comes. And therefore, we call the process of reincarnation, we call it samsara. And we say samsara is full of pain. And indeed, it is full of pain. This is true. Even what seems to be pleasurable, because of attachment, because the fact that pleasures decay, because the fact that objects disappear and change, because of all of these factors, even pleasure is nothing but pain. Therefore, we are learning how to escape samsara, how to escape this cycle of reincarnation, which is full of pain. The way to escape it is by learning, right? It's an educational process. The law of karma is a law of universal education. We escape by removing the cosmic illusion, by removing ignorance, and by gaining knowledge. That knowledge that we gain removes the ignorance. And when the ignorance is removed, samsara, that cycle, which is full of pain, is also removed. Then we realize ourselves as free beings, as omniscient beings, as immortal beings. This is what we are, as loving beings. All those things which are so elevated and we aspire for, we are inspired by it. This is what we are. We think love is so wonderful. Well, we are beings of love. Peace is so wonderful. We are beings of peace. Compassion is so wonderful. We are compassion incarnated. This is what we are. But there is a veil of illusion cast upon us. We are within illusion. That illusion is within our own minds. And the whole system of yoga has only one purpose: to remove that ignorance, to remove that illusion, and to realize our own true nature. And also to teach others to do the same. This is what yoga is doing. It's a wonderful teaching. So this is the answer to the particular question. Huh?
Swamiji, can you please describe the meditational process? What is it in the beginning and how does it unfold?
Meditation is one of the 5 modes of the mind. Mind has 5 modes. One mode is that the mind can be dull, like when the mind is foggy, when the mind is lethargic. So we may have a dull state of mind. This is one mode. The other mode is when the mind is turbulent and scattered. This is the second mode. The third mode of the mind is called a gathered mind, when we try to gather the mind and to make it one-pointed, and then it gets scattered again, and we again try to gather it, and so on. This is the third mode of the mind. The fourth mode of the mind is when the mind is one-pointed. And the fifth mode of the mind is when the mind does not have any thought waves within it. So the last 2 modes, the mode when the mind is one-pointed and the mode when the mind does not have thought waves within it, these are meditative modes. When we speak about meditation, we speak about the last 2 modes of the mind. So meditation is a natural activity or state of the mind. It's simply natural for the mind. The only thing is we need to reinforce those modes which are natural to the mind. As you know, the physical body has qualities which are natural. We can strengthen those qualities. We can have a strong body. We can have a flexible body. We can have a healthy body. Or we can neglect it. So is with the mind. Mind can be cultivated or the mind can be neglected. So we can have different types of modes in the mind. But in the mind, there are 2 modes which are called yoga. The state of the mind when the mind is one-pointed, and the state of the mind when the mind is without thought waves. And these are the modes of meditation. Now, meditation is the way by which the mind can discover the true nature of reality. When we speak about reality, we speak about creation. The mind can discover the true nature of creation. And the other aspect that the mind can discover is the true nature of the self. When the mind has discovered these 2 natures, the true nature of creation and the true nature of the self, from a state of meditation, because meditation is like an instrument by which we can discover these things. When the soul has discovered the true nature of creation and the true nature of the self, the soul has fulfilled its purpose. At that time, the mind itself dissolves and the soul is free. This is what we call freedom. the illusion has been dispelled because the soul has fulfilled its purpose. So clearly meditation is very important in order to dispel the veil of ignorance, the veil of illusion, and to regain our original state as the free soul, the immortal soul that I was speaking about, what we truly are. Therefore, Swami Shivananda says that meditation is like a ladder that leads to the heights of spiritual realization. And since time immemorial, yogis taught the method of meditation. The first step is to purify the heart and to purify the mind. If the mind is not pure, you cannot meditate. You will not be able to achieve that meditation of one pointedness. For the mind to meditate, the mind needs to be one pointed, but the thought waves have to be pure thought waves. In order to attain purity, we need to practice karma yoga. Karma yoga is the method by which our heart is purified from selfishness. We become selfless beings. And our mind is purified from dullness, from agitation, and from that's instability. The mind becomes steady and one-pointed and pure. Then we can meditate. This is achieved through karma yoga, through the yoga of action. Then, once this is achieved, we can meditate because meditation is natural to the mind. Once we can meditate, we use meditation in order to discover the true nature of reality. Once we discover it, we are free. So this is the process. And there are two types of meditation. One is meditation on creation. The other is meditation on the self. When we have meditated on creation and on the self and discovered their true nature, we have fulfilled our purpose as a living soul and we are free. So this is what we do in the process of meditation. Now, technically speaking, in India, there are hundreds of thousands of methods and techniques of meditation. And they are all good, but they are like medicines. Meditation is like medicine, and the guru is like a medical doctor. The students are like patients. So we suffer from a spiritual disease, and that spiritual disease is called avidya, spiritual ignorance. We come to the guru and we ask him to heal this disease because this disease causes suffering. The guru gives us proper medicines which are appropriate for us, gives us a course of treatment which we call sadhana, spiritual practice. We need to have faith in the guru, which is like a doctor. It's good to have faith in the doctor. It's good to have faith in the medicine. And it's also good to apply the course of treatment, which is the sadhana, under the guidance of the guru until we attain the goal. So there are so many techniques of meditation, so many methods. They are not appropriate for all. A teacher may give to one person one technique of meditation and to another something else according to the person's needs, because the guru is like a doctor in a sense. So we are learning the method of meditation from the guru. We put it into practice, and under the guidance of the guru, we attain our goal. This can take a long time, but nevertheless, yoga is called the short path. It is called the short path because in theory, we can attain self-realization in one lifetime. But the desire for self-realization has to be very powerful. But in principle, it can be done. So this is what we do. Yoga has many fringe benefits. It can heal many diseases. It gives us a wonderful sense of well-being. It makes us peaceful, joyful. Even before we attain the higher spiritual benefits, almost immediately we can feel the benefit of the practices of yoga. So this is the beauty and the power of yoga, because we can feel almost immediately the benefit. We don't have to wait for a very long time. But the purpose of yoga is a spiritual purpose, and to attain that spiritual purpose requires a long process and we need to learn quite a bit under the guidance of an able teacher. So this is so why do I say all of this? Because, for example, Swamiji taught us a method of meditation. If you look at the book Meditation and Mantras, there is a chapter where Swamiji is teaching the method of meditation. It's an ancient and very potent method of meditation. It's a meditation with a mantra, with a divine name. Very powerful meditation, ancient meditation. So this is the method of meditation that Swamiji gave us. But of course, as I told you, in India, there are so many methods of meditation. They are all good. Different gurus have their own methods how to deal with individual disciples, and so on and so on. Another thing that we need to understand regarding meditation, that the physical body is very important for meditation. In order to meditate, we need to have a very strong physical body. It's like if the physical body is not, when I say strong, don't misunderstand me. It needs to be reasonably healthy. It needs to be physically strong, no doubt. But it also needs to be strong so it can withstand the spiritual practices. And this strength is developed through the practice of yoga asanas, the yogic postures, pranayam, and the pure diet, and so on and so on. We need to develop a strong physical body. If the physical body is not strong enough, the physical body will not be able to withstand the practices. So therefore, first of all, we give attention to the physical body. But we cannot build a strong physical body, and I'm going to say something which may sound to you strange, but it's not strange, without achieving a certain level of perfection in ethics and morals. We cannot do the practices which strengthen the physical body. Therefore, at the foundation of the system of meditation, of yoga, we find the yamas and the niyamas, the ethical teachings, the moral teachings, which we are putting into practice. They are the foundations which allow us to succeed in the higher practices of yoga asanas and pranayama. If you just practice yoga asanas and pranayama without the yamas and the niyamas, you will not be successful from a yogic point of view. But to practice the yamas and the niyamas, it's not difficult. It's just a practice. We practice and gradually we become better at them. Swami Shivananda explains how to practice them using a spiritual diary. And slowly, slowly, we get better and better at them. And it helps us a lot because through the yamas and the niyamas, through this practice, we remove a lot of obstacles from our path. And this helps us a lot to develop the higher practices like asanas and pranayama, and of course the very high practices like control of the senses and concentration and meditation and very deep meditation, which is called samadhi. So there is a whole structure of practices which are called Ashtanga Yoga, the yoga of 8 limbs, which in fact they are a structure of practices that lead to the ability of meditation. And as I told you before, without practice of karma yoga, of selfless service to our fellow beings, we cannot achieve meditation. It's not possible. And without developing love and devotion, bhakti, we cannot be truly successful in meditation. So therefore, Swami Shivananda says, Karma yoga, the yoga of selfless service, leads to bhakti yoga, to the yoga of devotion. Bhakti yoga, the yoga of devotion, the yoga of love, leads to Raja yoga, the yoga of meditation. Raja yoga leads to Jnana yoga, yoga of meditation, leads to the yoga of knowledge. And Jnana yoga leads to moksha, means the yoga of knowledge leads to spiritual liberation. And I explained to you, spiritual liberation is the removal of the primordial ignorance, of the spell of ignorance and illusion, and realization of our true self, of our essential nature. So the method of yoga is very systematic, is well structured. There are very good teachers. There are many masters, like Swami Shivananda, like Swami Vishnudevananda, and we need to follow their guidance properly, and we will be successful, and we will get lots of benefits. So this is the general idea regarding meditation.
Swamiji, do you have suggestions for someone who desires to continue and deepen the commitment to the spiritual path, yet has many responsibilities, family needs, etc.?
So if your karmic situation does not allow you to be full-time in an ashram, then there are ways to keep your spiritual practice. First of all, you need to have a connection with a living teacher. The teacher doesn't have to be a perfect master. It's sufficient if the teacher is an advanced practitioner. When we are in kindergarten, we don't need to have a university professor as a teacher. A good kindergarten teacher is sufficient. So it's like this. So there are many good teachers that we can learn from. So to make it practical, Swamiji created city centers, means yoga centers in the city. So when you are in a certain city, you can go to a yoga center. And also, he trains so many yoga teachers. So you can find a good yoga teacher and you can start the practice. Then occasionally, you can go to an ashram in order to deepen your practice. And eventually, you may form a connection to a teacher, and then the teacher can give you guidance. The teacher will give you a practice. You are going to practice. You're going to inform the teacher about your practice. Then, when you mastered the practice to a good degree, the teacher will give you another practice and so on. Eventually, when your karmic situation will change, and you can come and retire into an ashram or into a hermitage and deepen your practices. So it's all karmic situations. Means whether we are in the city or whether we are in an ashram, it's all what we call karmic situation. But today it's relatively easy. The communication, it's quite easy, right? We had this person from Google, and he told us that the smartphone is our 79th organ. He asked us how many organs are there in our body. Anyway, Google claims that there are 78 organs. Let it be so. But he said there is a 79th organ, which is our smartphone. Okay. So the point here is that the communication today is much easier. You can you can see your teacher, you can hear your teacher. There are so many things that you can do today that you couldn't do before because the communication is much better. And also, the yogic texts are much more accessible. So if you wish, you can have contact with the teacher. Whenever you can come to an ashram. You can deepen your experience and your practice. So although you are in a situation of having a family and children and the city, you can develop a solid yogic practice and still keep your daily responsibilities. So this is very possible, and I highly recommend that you do it. We can help you one way or another, right? Swami Paramananda is here. I just remembered, right? We conducted the first yoga teacher training course in a prison, isn't it? Like the whole yoga teacher training course in a prison. I think first time ever anywhere. And Swami Paramananda taught it, and I think you're going to teach it now the second time. Huh? Yeah. So the point is that if in a prison you can take a yoga teacher training course, evidently when you are not in prison, you can also take yoga teacher training, isn't it? So that's what I'm trying to say. That so even if you have a family and children, you see, you can take yoga teacher training course. The family can take yoga vacation. Children can take yoga kids camp, and so the whole family can be uh, together, but each one doing something else within the ashram. And then you can go back to your community and benefit the community, because when you are a yoga teacher, you can benefit a lot. So these things are there, and there are 800 million yoga practitioners in the world today. I can guarantee that most of them have family, have children, and so on. 800 million, it's a lot. Okay? Okay, Swamiji.
Swamiji, how do you know if you are ready for a guru?
It's simple. You see, if you have the desire to learn yoga, you have to find a teacher. You can learn from a book, of course, but it's better to learn from a living teacher. So you will search for a teacher, you are going to find a teacher, and that teacher will be your initial guru. Swami Shivananda calls it, what they call, he will not be a perfect master, but he will be, let's say, an advanced practitioner. So that teacher will help you to start. And at a certain point, when you are advanced enough, you can study with a perfect master of yoga. And this is how it happens. There is a desire to learn it. You are searching for a teacher. You find a teacher. You will connect better with one teacher than with another teacher. And you're going to put the teaching in practice. You're going to experience the teaching. Eventually, you yourself will become a teacher. And this is how it happens. It's simple, practical, and straightforward. And the connection with the teacher is quite deep, this I have to tell you. It can be very deep. But the main thing in the relationship between a disciple and a teacher is the practice, is to apply the practice. Because it's a training. This is what it is. Okay? It's a transmission of knowledge and putting this knowledge into practice. So it's simple, it's straightforward, and it's practical. Okay.
Swamiji, in the Elixir Divine of Swami Shivananda writes, virtuous actions of the past produce viveka and vairagya. That's one. And the second, God takes upon himself the prarabdha karma of the devotee. Can you please explain?
These are very complicated questions. They can be answered, but they are complicated because they require previous knowledge. So, viveka means the power of discrimination. This is the ability to discriminate between what is real and what is not real. As I told you, there is an illusion, a veil of illusion that dwells within our own mind and does not allow us to see our true nature. And that veil of illusion empowers the mind to project a false reality. And because of that illusion, our perception about the world and about ourselves is false. So, the first thing to do is to develop the capacity to discern what is real and what is not real. For example, if you see a mirage in the desert, the ability to discern between the sand, which is real, and the water, which is an illusion, is very important. Otherwise, we may die because the mirage will take us deeper and deeper into the desert. And since there is no water there, we are going to die. So we have to discern between the sand and the false water. We have to discern between the real rope and the false snake that we see. Similarly, we need to be able to discern between what is illusory and what is real in order to achieve the goal of our life. So this capacity is called viveka, discrimination. Vairagya is detachment, means not to become attached to things which are not real, because we are going to suffer. The treasure that is not real is going to vanish. We're going to suffer. We cannot become attached to it. In our dream, we are very rich, then we wake up, then we are poor. You can see, it takes a moment, and you wake up from the dream and you realize all that money was an illusion. And you are poor. And you suffer. So vairagya means not to be attached to things that are unreal because they are going to bring you pain and suffering. You're going to stay within this cycle of samsara, the cycle of reincarnation, the cycle of suffering. The way to get out of this cycle is to develop viveka, the power of discrimination between the real and the unreal, and the outcome of it, vairagya, not to get attached to illusory things. And how do we develop these two qualities? By going to many, many lives and doing many, many good deeds. Good deeds purify our heart and our mind, especially karma yoga. But even if you don't know what is karma yoga, just serving our fellow beings selflessly is sufficient. The heart becomes pure from selfishness. The mind becomes pure. And this allows us to see clearly. And when we can see clearly, this is called viveka, the power of discrimination. The second thing is, once we have the power of discrimination, the result of it is vairagya, the power of non-attachment to illusory things. And the consequence of it is liberation from samsara or liberation from suffering. So this is the meaning.
There was the second sentence, Swamiji, that says God takes upon himself the prarabdha karma of the devotee.
Prarabdha karma simply means the results of our past actions that we experience in this life. This is prarabdha karma. Whatever results are there, karmic results from our past actions that we experience in this life, this is what we call prarabdha karma. This includes our physical body, our environment, our inner tendencies, our life experiences, our pleasures, our pains, the people that we meet. All these things are included in what we call prarabdha karma. Prarabdha karma starts at birth and ends at death. When we die, the prarabdha karma, that prarabdha karma means those karmic seeds that sprouted are exhausted, means they are burned. They will not come back. So a life starting with birth and ending with death is prarabdha karma. So what was the question about prarabdha karma?
That Swami Shivananda writes in the book that God takes upon himself the prarabdha karma of the devotee.
God is the self, which is within your own heart. It's very difficult to answer this question because I have to explain what is a Jivan Mukta. Jivan Mukta means a person that has realized the self and became liberated while alive in the physical body. Although the person is liberated and is also liberated from karma, he is not going to a future karma. He is not going to stay within samsara. He is not going to go back in the bondage of illusion. But still, the prarabdha karma, the results of the past actions, which are responsible for this life, have to be exhausted. So you have a person which is actually liberated while alive, but still the physical body is there and his life circumstances are there because the prarabdha karma is not exhausted. So you have here a paradox. If the prarabdha karma is not exhausted, how can it be liberated? About this, Swami Shivananda says that there is an appearance that this person has prarabdha karma, and the appearance is from the point of view of those people that did not attain yet spiritual liberation. When they look at such a person, they think, oh, yes, he still has the body, he's still alive, he still has the life circumstances, everything else. But from the point of view of the liberated sage, that liberated sage is completely free at the moment of realization. So from his point of view, there is no prarabdha karma. But from the point of view of the person that looks at him, there is prarabdha karma. So it is said, the Lord, because the question comes, what happens to the prarabdha karma? What happens to the karma left after he has realized the self? So they say the fruits of his good deeds from past lives go to his lovers, to those people that love him and are devoted to him. The fruits of his negative actions from the past are going to those people that hate him and so on, that have negative emotions towards him. As for him, at the moment of realization, he's free. So what they say is the Lord takes his prarabdha karma upon himself, but this is just a manner of speaking, because when they say the Lord, the meaning is the self. In fact, the prarabdha karma itself that we see is an illusion. It's not real. He's free. Therefore, it's called a jivan mukta. He's free. But there is this appearance of prarabdha karma. But that prarabdha karma, because the question is, where does it go? Well, the Lord takes it. He takes that prarabdha karma. This is the answer. So, and what does the Lord do when he takes it? Well, he distributes it to whoever needs it. Swami Brahmananda, okay, let's see. You receive this. That person like this. So the good Lord distributes what is left from the karma of that sage, and everyone receives something. And this is the meaning, because karma is inert. Karma cannot go by itself. It has to be distributed. So you love the sage, you get the results of his good actions. You don't like the sage, you get the results of his negative actions, following the principle of like attracts like. If you have love, you attract to yourself love. If you have hatred, you attract to yourself hatred. This is the principle. Whatever you desire, you get. So we need to be careful. This is the answer to this question. It's a difficult question, very complex. Okay? Got it? And there is one more thing. There is no way, there is no external sign by which we can know that a person is liberated. No external sign whatsoever. They are it is said, it's a state without external marks. So it can be the person next to you, you will never know. It can be your neighbor, it can be the person that sits next to you in the bus. You can never know. Self-realized beings many times look totally ordinary. They don't have any, they do not display supernatural powers and so on. So therefore, it's a good practice to be good to others. All right? Because you never know. You can get a blessing. You understand? When such a being blesses, the blessing uh,
Infallible.
is fulfilled. Yeah? Whatever blessing such a being gives is going to happen. You may be in the worst situation of your life. If such a being blesses you, you are on your way to freedom. So it's a good practice to be a good person. This is the general idea. Even if your motives are selfish. A very good practice. Okay. I have to see. All right. It's 6 minutes past 10. One more question and we are done.
Om Sanaji. Does liberation happen step by step or all at once? Is it a matter of self-effort or a gift of grace?
It's both. It's many years back when I just received my sannyas initiation, my initiation as a Swami. I went to see Swami Venkateshananda. Swami Venkateshananda was personal secretary of Swami Shivananda. He was my teacher in the early years. And so I went to his room. He was sitting in his bed, and I went with another Swami. And I remember the other Swami that came with me asked him the question, is enlightenment, self-realization instant or gradual? Does it involve self-effort or does it happen by grace? Exactly the same question. And Swami Venkateshananda was in his bed reading a newspaper. I don't know, New York Times, some newspaper. And he looked and he said, it is instant. And there was this light next to his bed, the bed light. Just push the button and the light came. And he said, you see, it's instant. But they had to build the whole electrical grid and to build the powerhouse. They had to do so many things. So when you push the button, you get immediate light. Right? So yes, it is instant, but how much self-effort was there? A lot of self-effort, isn't it? But then, during that instance, a saying of Swami Shivananda came. Swami Shivananda said, grace comes in the form of self-effort. That thing that you call self-effort is nothing but the grace of God. Because people ask, where is self-effort? Well, where is grace? Self-effort is grace. So what did he tell us? Because it was me and it was the other Swami. The other Swami asked the question. He said that, yes, it's instant, but there is a lot of self-effort that has to happen for it to be instant. And even this self-effort is nothing but the grace of God. So there you go. This is the answer. Okay. Well, I would like to thank you. Om Tat Sat.